and I've been slowly but surely unpacking all of my bags and the bags within the bags to share with you my collection within this large witchy bag. I have gone through moon decks, I have gone through gothic decks, and now I am going to share the second pouch that lives in my skeleton bag, and this one, quite simply, I call Dem Bones. Why? Well, the more I reveal of this. Sorry, that was a tumbled stone. This might be a clue as to what's in this wrap. And oh my goodness, that was my bloodstone that fell out. Oh, sorry, dearie. So yeah, I got this wrap from the Bee and Snake at Etsy. Unfolds into a reading cloth. It's my zombie tarot. Yeah! Woo! It's time for the zombies. I get so excited when it's this time of year. Not that I can't pull these decks out whenever I wanna, whenever I miss them, but obviously this is when I'm most in the mood for this, but you don't have to wait to the fall and Halloween for the zombie tarot. I really don't think so. Look at my cards. I did this on purpose. Creases. Ugh. I hated the cardstock when I got it. It felt so papery and cardboardy, and it felt like there was like a kind of a powdery substance on them too. So I really went to town with these. Like, I wiped every single card off front and back with a damp cloth to get that powderiness off, and then I worked each card with my thumbs just to try to soften it up. And I realized that the paper quality being what it is, that it was in some instances going to crease them. It didn't always, but in some cases it did. But I didn't mind that either, because this is such an apocalyptic deck. I liked the feeling of it looking like it's been through something. Like it's survived the zombie apocalypse. And for the same reason, when I edged it, this is before I knew about distress ink, and I think I had just edged it with a Sharpie, but I wanted it to be more distressed, and so I like took a nail file to it and just spent all this time like sanding things down, and the darkness of the ink bled into these cream fronts. But again, it just kind of like fades into it and just gives it a great, like, aged look. Like, this deck could tell some stories. So now it's great. It just feels like, I don't know, it's fluffier somehow, and I like the feeling of it. I like playing with it and shuffling with it, and so mission accomplished. But to finally show some of the images, so to kick off Dem Bones, this is why we do have some, you know, human flesh that remains on skeletons. We do still have some folks who are alive. Even some of the folks who are dead still have decaying flesh and muscle hanging from them, but there's a lot of bones coming through in here too. And how hilarious is this deck? And I know this one gets talked about a lot, so I don't need to go on and on and on about it, but what fun. Just absolute kitsch. Fantastic reader. It actually functions so amazingly well as a real legit tarot deck. And I do want to bring it out at other times of the year, just so that I can continue to have that much more fun with it. It's just so cheeky, so fun. Images that, you know, can turn your stomach a little bit, but it is really all in good fun. So there's nothing that I find just absolutely appalling in here. But I get where it might not be everyone's thing. But yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. It's just terribly clever. And I love my nice worn in version of it. So then going along with that, I don't know why I'm showing the bags. I'm apparently very proud of myself and my bag pairings with my decks. Sorry, I didn't really become conscious that I was doing that. Like, look what I have. Look what I did. Aren't I clever? Yikes. Memento Mori. Claire Goodchild. I got this because just when I was feeling like, oh, I've got enough tarot decks, I don't need to get Antique Anatomy as well. When I saw this for pre-order on Etsy, I don't know if that was like a year or two ago, I thought, oh, okay, this is how I can enjoy her artwork. I don't need another tarot deck, but I don't have a lot of decks along these lines. Well, I do, just not as many as I have for tarot decks. Oh, this you can see, I did finally discover Distress ink. So I didn't have to take a sander to this. So I do have other decks that do what this does, but this is also unique in the fact that it contains a full Lenormand set, but then obviously it is thicker than a typical Lenormand deck, so there's just a ton more objects, symbols that you can work with. But I thought it was really cool that in addition to that, she incorporated those core Lenormand symbols. So you can pluck them out and just do a Lenormand reading, or you can just use this whole deck in that same fashion, or just use it however you would want to use it. Lay it out, make your own rules for how you interpret them. I feel like with this type of deck that does feel more fortune-telly, I'm still finding my way with that. I do know the Lenormand system and I could follow that, but you know, that sometimes, I don't know, that doesn't always fully click in with me too. It's like I intellectually get it. I understand how it works. You can only explain it to me so many times. It really is just a matter of me being able to work with it more intuitively. And so I felt like maybe a deck like this would help free me from that, where I don't have to be thinking so much in terms of Lenormand, and just really like lay the cards out and read them in the way that's making the most sense to me. And this did come with little white book with some keywords, but I think for me it will be good to just form some associations of my own, because I am so in my head, I always wanted to default to books and see what someone else has to say. And I just really need to let myself come up with my own initial impressions. And not that I'm not always doing that, but I do get stuck a bit more with decks like this. So I don't own a lot, particularly like this. I have a lot of Oracle decks, but not necessarily in this style. I love this though. I mean, just the color scheme. It's just subdued, but there is color with the black and white, and just the antiquity of it and that cabinet of curiosities feeling that it possesses. Beautiful vintage style artistry that, oh, it's so nice, and it looks really nice as well with Zombie Tarot. They both have, you know, this cream beigey background and not brightly colored. But there is color. It's quite compatible. So I love pairing these together. And also going along with these is the third deck in Dem Bones. I'm going to show them. I'm going to show the bag again. This is technically a wrap. But this is for my Santa Muerta. And I'm sorry, I am kind of bragging a little bit. That's a good match. Yeah? Who's with me? Yeah? Right? Yeah. I'll try not to sit with the smugness for too long. But it feels good. Now this one, if I bring it out, it'll be closer to Halloween. I mainly use this actually for like the week following. It's more of a day of, for obvious reasons, more of a Day of the Dead reading. And I'll pull this out for ancestor work to follow Halloween as of All Souls Day and subsequent days, and it makes for that nice little transition then, because I have so many fun spooky decks that I like to use through October, and then when Halloween's over and it's like, oh, you know, this provides that nice bridge. And actually Zombie Tarot I'll continue to use also into the beginning of November typically, just to give me that nice little transition out of my favorite time of year. But also just a really special time, obviously, aside from my kid at heart self, who at least mentally still goes trick-or-treating. I still like to dress up at Halloween, whether I have plans or not. I could be sitting on my damn sofa just watching horror movies. I might have fully decked myself out as Buffy the Vampire Slayer once when not even my husband was home. He was on a work trip. And I just dressed up, played the Buffy board game, which is conducive to single player as well as multiple players. And yeah, this would not be my existence on Halloween in the United States. Oh no, never. But in the United Kingdom, yeah. Halloween is becoming a bit more of a big deal here. I definitely have seen it increase in the 14 years that I've lived here. But I don't know anyone here who has the enthusiasm for it where I can just automatically know I've got plans every year. It's never took. Even the other American expats that I've known over here, duds. How did I manage to team up with fellow Americans not into Halloween? Like, who are they? So I'm always hard pressed. It just becomes a thing, and I got so tired of like setting expectations just for them to be let down. I have bought tickets to go to bars that were hosting Halloween events just to show up in costume and see that no one else is. I mean, it was honestly like one of those nightmares you have where you show up. Oh, you know what it is? It's Bridget Jones showing up in her bunny rabbit outfit for Tarts and Vickers party, and everyone ends up being dressed normally. It was that experience. And I was just like, come on, people, come on. This place has been advertising a Halloween party. What's wrong with you? Or maybe more to the point, what's wrong with me? So whatever, it's fine, it's fine. I've given up. The UK has killed my Halloween soul a little bit, but I will still celebrate it on my own. I will still dress up whether I have plans or not. And now that we actually live on a street where we have trick-or-treaters, which is not an experience that we got to enjoy before, it's become a lot more fun. And we decked out the house last year, and hardly anyone else on the block was participating in anything in general, not even giving out candy. And so it was very fun to be like the one house in the neighborhood that had Mike Myers staring down from the attic window. Anyway, I digress. How did I even get on that tangent when I'm talking about this deck? I don't know, but okay, so I will bring this out when I'm having more so ancestral thoughts, reflections, conversations perhaps. And this deck has been a great reader. I just find its artwork to be so beautiful, just breathtakingly detailed. And I love how animated the skeletons are, really brought to life. This deck is the reason why I have not bought the Marigold Tarot. I really find that one very, very appealing. I think that one is so beautiful, and I don't consider them to be the same thing, but I feel like my use for them both would be the same. I don't know. It could be worthwhile to just try out the Marigold and see if it ends up occupying another place in my practice. I think I enjoy using this too, though, just being overseas, and it just brings me back to North America. You know, I'm living on the continent of my ancestry, but this is like the ancestry of where I'm from and my immediate family that I was born into. It's the ancestry of the land, not Mexico, but just north. Another one that's really beautiful with the Memento Mori. And looks pretty cool with the zombie tarot sometimes too. I have definitely done readings with these two together. It's great to get the two different voices. We've got like the cheekier on the lighter side of things, but then this can ground it with a little bit more depth. Well, I shouldn't say depth. This deck goes deep too. But I guess just brings in that more serious, reverent tone, I guess you could say. Yes, and so dem bones would not be complete without dem actual bones. I keep the crone's bones in here. This little coffin has 3 little bones like this that represent yes and no. So you just cast the 3, and depending on what combination comes up, it's just a little supplement for a yes or no question. Looks cool with these decks that I just showed from the Dem Bones pouch. Also amazing with any of the Gothic decks and my Halloween decks that will be coming up at some point. So yes, this is one of my favorite bags in my collection of what I've shared. I definitely love the Gothic and getting into more of the macabre, and this was great. And I'm sorry if I went on too long. It is just because I have such a childlike excitement for it. But I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear in the comments your experiences with any of the decks or bones I've shown, and what do you do to celebrate this time of year, card-wise, but also just Halloween, Samhain, ancestry-wise. What are some of the rituals that come up for you this time of year, and how do you really get yourself into that autumnal mode? It's interesting to me how it's both such a time of pure childlike play, but then also such pure, mature reverence as well. It is obviously a time to be reflecting on life and death and those that we love and our own mortality and impending death. To have something as heavy as that, bundled with just the lightness and celebration, festivity of this time of year, I really can't get enough of it. I mean, there's nothing that means more in life than this great question of our existence and our love and memories of those who've gone before, and maybe even those who've gone before that we never even got to know. Just that ancestral lineage is just such a powerful time, and I know that I don't have to tell you that, but I just love that something like that is also, it goes in conjunction with just the lightheartedness of Halloween and trick-or-treating and silly, cheeky zombie decks. I don't know. It's just the range of emotion, and from the very superficial to the very deep of this time of year, it's just a blast. I love it all in all ways. I am so appreciative of you if you have watched all of this. And here's looking forward to October. See you then. Bye.